Happy Friday, my friend.
Hi, this is Alan. I like IRONWORX because it's where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came.
I love IRONWORX with Josh, Walt, and Zack. It's like sitting in your front room having a cozy chat with your best friends.
Hi, it's Diva here, and I just want you to know that IRONWORX with Josh, Walt, and Zack, it's definitely my favourite dose of reality. Come join the family and keep it flat.
Why sleep in when you could get your dose of iron in the morning? Listen to the IRONWORX.
This is Enlightened Dawn. Roses are red, violets are blue. ironrealmmedia is the best on the plane. To this show, I will forever be true. You guys are truly the best, and I love you guys. I'm so thankful to have you in my life.
Do you like listening to Space Lettuce from Never a Straight Answer? Then tune in to the IRONWORX with Zack, Walter, and Josh. Break clear of the fear on the IRONWORX and become an Iron Scout.
This is Michael Tyson. You probably know me better as Iron Mike, but I don't go by Iron Mike no more because I used to be a monster. I'm a different person now. I'm all about happiness. But what is happiness? I'll tell you what happiness is. Every time I listen to my favorite show, ironrealmmedia. It's a truther show on YouTube.
Good morning. I'm here. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up.
What is dark matter?
Okay, we don't know.
That's great. That's why it's called dark.
It's exactly.
Reputable information comes from random people on the internet. Everything's internet. The earth is flat. It's like school in your hand.
Dark matter is something we do not know what it is. We believe that dark matter is there, but we have never detected it. Well, I'm afraid of course, that there is no dark matter out there.
So what?
There is no dark matter out there. We need to think really hard.
Good morning. Good morning. We talked the whole night through. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning. It's great to stay up late. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Oh, happy Friday. I'm sure glad it's Friday. For some reason, it's been kind of a long week. Not a bad one, just a long one. Just dragging ass, taking forever. But we've done it. We're here. Well, some of us are here. Others of us have no internet and have gone back to bed. So everybody said big hugs and lots of love out to Walter, who should be resting comfortably, as I don't think it's going to be too chilly down there or too hot, but right in that Goldilocks zone. How are you doing, Zack?
Not too bad.
Good.
Got some coffee pouring on my brain right now, so I'm starting to wake up.
Me too.
Yeah, it was a long week. I don't know why, but yeah, it was. It felt like a long week. Maybe with the weather change and the cold coming in.
Have you checked out the Earth Synergies? You checked out that NOAA site? Yeah, shit's been
Off
going
the charts.
Crazy. Yeah. Well, I mean,
I've been
my night skies have been sort of lit up with Aurora Borealis, so that says something as far as the energetics.
I've been seeing some crazy pictures people have been putting up.
Yeah.
Bro, here in the U.S.
Maybe you could explain it to me. How so many of these pictures can't be seen with the naked eye, but only when it's taken with an iPhone.
Yeah, that's weird. That's how the last time it came around. Like, I could see a faint hue with my naked eye, but I didn't see any of the vivid colors like the iPhone picked up. I don't know, because my phone didn't pick it up.
Neither did Dixie's, and she was side by side with someone with an iPhone that did. And of course, my reaction is, well, that's fake. That's fake and gay. That's just, Android did something similar with their moon photos. Right, with enough contrast, you could take a picture of a street light and it would come out as a moon. Because if I'm like, oh, that's a moon, here, look at the moon, and show you a picture of the moon to make you think you took it.
Yeah, that's crazy. Why?
Fake alien invasion. Here's the aliens, but you can only see them through the phone.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Like the Aurora. Right, clearly, it's not going to be AR. It's not going to be like a Pokemon.
So did the government open back up?
I think so. I do believe. That's a hell of a birthday gift, I got to tell you. That's a month and a half worth of a birthday gift. Thank you very much. Aside from all the, hungry kids and unemployed people. Aside from that, great birthday gift. Less government, the better. Right down to 0.
Yeah, it looks like today South Carolina will be paying full November SNAP benefits. At least they got it done before Thanksgiving.
Did the state kick in any? Had the state paid off at the beginning of the month? Do you know?
I don't think here. I don't think South Carolina did. I think they were going to try to do partials or something. I forget. I'm reading through it right now. Nope, this is all federal, I'm pretty sure. After the 44-day long government shutdown. And it's not like they struck a deal. They're just pushing it back to the end of January.
Yep.
How long has it been since they've passed a budget?
Couldn't tell you. I mean, every year, so probably not that long. It's just pretty unbalanced in the budgets that they pass as far as deficit spending goes. But I think they've got to pass one every year.
No, it's been over 25 years since
they've done a balanced budget or any budget.
Well, all 12 of its annual appropriation bills on time for a fiscal year. 1997 was the last time a full budget was completed before the start of the fiscal year. The government is currently operating under a temporary funding measure called we've been doing continuing resolutions forever. That's crazy. 1997 was the last time they got their job done on time. It was also the last time a full budget was completed on time. Now, aren't they some of the highest paid people in government? I mean, I'm sure they're making more than the mail carriers and the TSA and all these other air traffic controllers. Why is it they get to not do their job, but yet they're the ones that got paid throughout this whole ordeal?
Well, because they're smarter than the rest of us. You just don't understand the burden they go for public service. Obviously, when they want something, they can get it. That's how they got to where they are. which obviously makes them better at humaning than the rest of us. If we wanted our will done, we'd be able to execute our will, but no, we're not good enough. They're good enough to execute their will. So that gives them the de facto right to rule over all of us peons. So I suppose they make a little more. I think there's probably some that work in like subcommittees, and it accumulates that way. I think the higher up you go, your pay doesn't necessarily correlate. I think the public funding sort of maxes out at some point. And then that's why you've got to legalize insider trading and find all sort of sources of black funds to line your pockets with.
Yeah, it's hard to live on that $174,000 a year. That's the lowest paid congressman.
And there probably is. I imagine if you took that lowest paid congressman and told him he needed to go buy a house in California or go find a spot up in New York, that would be pretty tough. As in, not super comfortable.
Fucking comfort. You're a fucking public service servant. Sorry.
You want comfort? Retire. Provide a full career of trusted service to your country, your community, and we'll make sure that you can finish out your days comfortably.
Yeah, I mean, you're making 4 times the average U.S. citizen. Like I think the average household's like 40-something thousand right now. So you're making about 4 times what the average U.S. household makes. I don't want to hear him complaining.
Is it that low?
Let's see. No, okay. Yeah, 83,000.
That's what I'm saying. 83,730 as of last year.
Yeah.
I was gonna say there's no way I make average or above. There's no effing way.
Yeah.
If the average is $40,000 a year.
Yeah, those without a high school diploma, the average is 32,000. Do 117,000 for those with a high school or with a college degree.
32 without.
That number's going to be dropping though.
You said 32,000 without a high school diploma?
Yeah.
And 117 with a college diploma?
Yeah.
Huh. How about the trades?
They don't really get into it.
I'd be curious what the average income in the skilled trades are.
It's probably right around the middle. I know a lot of the guys I work get paid pretty well. Yeah, I got to almost pick a lock on the job site.
Ooh, that'd been fun.
Yeah. They were sitting around waiting for this guy to walk over with the key. There was a big construction site, and they had those fences going up all around it. Well, the guys had to get in to remove these big, giant green electrical boxes and pull like, geez, it was a few hundred yards of cable that was, I don't know, probably 2 inches across. Rubber and the wires.
Dang.
Like, this was some serious cable. But, yeah, they had to get back in this yard, and they didn't want to wait for the guy. I was like, I could try to pick it if you want. And the guy's like, yeah, okay. So I got my lock picks out and had my first tensioner I grabbed was a little too wide, so I went back to get the other tensioner. And he was like, hey, hold on a sec. He's like, I got a master key for, master lock, but it's not for this set of master lock industrial ones. But I got one. So he put it in there and it opened it.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's ridiculous. I mean, these are two totally different sets of keys, right? One is for the Pike Power, or blah, 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 the power company guys, the guys who work on the power lines. And the other one is a construction company that's building buildings. Like, they don't work together, you know? These locks were not part of the same group. But yet somehow his master key worked on their locks. My uncle or my cousin used to tell me back in the day there was a set of keys you could buy that was the master keys for a bunch of different lock makers.
I've heard that.
And he said it was like, yeah, you had a whole set of them, and they would open like 90% of the doors out there.
Heard it was like super expensive, and you had to be like a master locksmith or some shit to be able to gain access to purchasing them or some shit. Mm-hmm. I do vaguely remember hearing something about that.
Yeah, even just the repinning sets, normal people aren't supposed to have them. Those are only for, you don't have to be a master locksmith, but just a locksmith in order to get the repinning to where you could take a lock apart and change the pins so you can, make a new key for it. But yeah, I almost got to pick a lock. And then he's like, I got a cousin who's got a gun safe that he's trying to get into, an old gun safe. I was like, well, shit, send me the, give me a number, a serial number and whatnot. And I'm sure there's somebody online that will show me exactly how to do it. I can give it a shot.
For first dibs.
Yeah, you don't even really got to pay me. Just let me play with your big safe thing. That's,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to see if I can.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Andrew.
Hey, Andrew B. How are you this morning, sir?
I am doing all right. Unfortunately, I have to actually work today.
Oh, man.
I'm hoping I get to go work.
No, it's supposed to be my day off. That's what I'm saying. I was supposed to do side work. Anyways, when it comes to safes, my dad purchased a very high-end safe about, 15 years ago or something like that, where he has all of his guns and his copious amounts of silver and, family photos and, very important stuff. And then about 6 months ago, he's like, hey, I need you to come over and help me, move this safe into place and stuff like that and help wire it up. I was like, wire it up? What the fuck? Why does the safe need wiring?
Does it have an electrical thing?
It has a Wi-Fi signal in it that if it starts to be breached, then it will send a signal over to him and then potentially also the police department.
Oh, that's awesome.
Or a Raspberry Pi that triggers a shotgun.
Or something like that. You're like the glitter bomb.
Right, but with lead.
Yeah, right. Well, he does have shotguns in there, but and other things I'm not going to. He has a couple hand grenades. I'll put it that way. All right. So but yeah, he gave the other safe to my brother because I didn't have any fucking use for it.
That's funny.
No, I mean, these are
I love how
big
when
things.
you're just being silly and saying funny things, just toying with the ATF.
All right. Well, anyways, yeah. When it comes to a lot of these safes, and well, he even said he showed me like the diagram for it, and it literally has. And this is not like a cheap safe. I think he said it was like $16,000 or something. And that's my guesstimate. But yeah, it has wires that are going all around it, and then it has to be, because of how much it weighs, it just has this little port on the back side of it that you just plug into a wall outlet, and there you go. And I guess it also has like a Wi-Fi sensor as well. So you don't even actually need that. I think the wall port is just for like the battery backup portion of it. Yeah, it's pretty nuts how safes are getting evolved over the years. Pretty sure like bank safes have something similar, but my dad also has like cameras and shit looking towards it and stuff like that as well.
Used to be just a hole in the ground.
Yeah, just bury it in the fucking ground. All right, so space letters.
Nice.
I'm gonna share my screen. Give me a moment. Share.
Did you guys hear about Comet Atlas?
Did it do a burnout? Is it drifting around the sun?
It broke into 3 distinct pieces.
Oh my god, this is like turning
chevrons are detaching.
This is turning into Independence Day. I actually watched that movie again recently, but actually I watched part 2 of it again, which is not very good. And it's just how fucking stupid Hollywood has become. And I think they're going to be planning on doing a part 3 or something. I don't know what the fuck's going to happen, but here we go. U.S. military wants to track potential threats coming from the moon. The DARPA program aims to improve the ability to track potential threats and objects of interest or originating from a transitioning, what the fuck is that word? Cislunar? Like, they're getting all fucking weird.
Yes.
Cislunar space. All right. And as the moon becomes the center of the new space race, the United States military is looking for new ways to keep track of spacecraft and other objects flying close to or from lunar space. The Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, DARPA, has issued a contract solicitation for new ways to process optical signals that allow for...
It's fucking... The moon is locked in geospatial orbit. How hard is it to fucking look at the moon? Come up with new ways to look at the moon. All you gotta do is tilt your fucking head up. What the fuck?
Oh, there's a contract, though. Don't worry about that. It was probably like $10 billion or something.
Lay on your back. That's a new way. Don't tilt your head. Lay on your back.
Is this thing's called telescopes? How about that? Anyway, so, blah, 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 blah. So, this lunar, whatever the fuck that even means, there's a link to it, but I'm not going to click on it, is a vast region of space influenced by
the region
gravitational...
between the Earth and the Moon is cislunar space.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. The gravitational forces both, blah, blah, blah. Because moon tracking systems are designed for keeping tabs on satellites and spacecraft operating from low Earth orbit to geosynchronous orbit, there is a gap in the United States ability to detect and track objects much farther away, especially near the moon.
If there was only a way we could put some sort of object up there and lock it in place so that it stays in the exact same, falling around the Earth at the exact same speed with which the Earth rotates, so that it stays in geosynchronous orbit. But just put it at the outer edges, somewhere in cislunar space. If only there was a way to do that. Like, couldn't you just use a telescope to look at the fucking moon? Couldn't you use a satellite with a telescope to look at the moon? If satellites can look at the Earth, can't you put a satellite to look at the moon and just lock it in place? Like, is this really difficult? Is DARPA really having a hard time figuring this out? Or is something else trying to be communicated here?
We should probably ask Jaron. He probably knows the best at this point, because he's like the end all of information. The only reason I'm bringing him up is because he's gone full RV at this point. Well, actually, I don't even call it full RV. I trust RV more than Jaron now. Don't go full Jaron.
Don't go full Jaron.
There's got to be some leftover real cheap bracelets that say WWJD on them.
But the reason I bring up Jaron is because I think it was yesterday or the day before, something like that. Alan from Space Audit, he sent me a message. Hey, I'm going to be going live here in a little bit with Jaron. And I was like, what the fuck? I haven't listened to Jaron in damn near a year. So I listened to it, and it just turned into a shit show. Jaron might as well have just had a NASA fucking spacesuit on. But it's like, I don't know. It was a shit show. I listened to it for like 30 minutes, and it just turned into nothing but Jaron being pompous and, I know everything because I went to Antarctica. It's like, you fucking moron. You're disregarding everything in your last 10 years of research. He sold out. If I was a betting man, and I am, he sold out. He's compromised. And I don't give a fuck if he hears me say that. He has my phone number. You can call me.
Yeah. According to his own words, right before he left, he told us, if I come back and I start being buddy-buddy with Toon and McKeegan and doing shows with them and start saying that the Earth is round, then I've been compromised.
Exactly.
Those were the words that came out of his mouth. Now, whether or not it's true or not, I don't know, but yeah, it was a weird 180. And to me, it happened before they even went, like 6 months before. When he came out, one weekend we're all sitting there, and all of a sudden he's like, hey, if we go and we see the sun go around us, that means the Earth's a globe. And I was like, what? So the light in the sky, that we don't know what it is, how far away, what it's made of, or anything about it really, you're going to base the ground on that. Okay. If that's how you want to do it, I don't see the logic in that. Now, if we were saying we're going to use a plane to triangulate, right? We know how high the plane is. We know where the plane is on GPS and this and that. Okay, I could use a plane because we know what the plane's made of, where it is, blah, 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 blah. We know we have data on the plane to actually use for measurements. The sun, we do not. The sun doesn't even look in the same place from, like, you take 3 different observers and you cannot triangulate the sun. Nobody can. On a globe, on a flat plane, it doesn't work. So, what is the sun? I'm not going to make that claim to say I know what the sun is and how high it is and how big it is or any of those things. So I'll use the stuff that I can use down here on the ground, like large bodies of water, right? We know how much they should curve according to Earth curve calculations. But yet, nobody can find that curve. You may find it one day, but then you go back out there again, and now you can see 20 miles further. And it's always, you can find the curve on the cloudy or the real humid days when there's a lot of atmospheric disturbances. That's the only time the curve starts showing up. But on a nice clear day where the water temp is about the same as the air temp, you know, crisp, clean, not a lot of wind, you can see so far. Or if you use the sun as a backlight, you know, like you go stand out in Michigan City, Indiana on 420, and you look towards Chicago and the sun's going to set right behind it. Now, if it didn't illuminate those buildings like that every single year and make Chicago stand out, there wouldn't be 50 photographers standing out there waiting for it to happen. You can't predict, you know, these natural optical phenomena to be happening on the exact same day of the year, every year. It doesn't work like that. But yet it happens over and over and over. And people go out there every year and get awesome pictures. So yeah, I don't get it. There's no amount of money anybody could give me to lie like that. I don't know. There isn't.
$10 trillion.
No.
I know this. Yeah, me too. I just it's not worth. No, I'm not going to say my soul, but it's just a part of my well-being.
Well, it is kind of your soul, though. Really, I mean, for those of us that have been in this a while, and you know, take it somewhat seriously, right? This is the reason that there are so many people, in my opinion, that are separated from the Creator. Because they've been told that this creation is something totally different that just happened, you know, by happenstance, by chance. Billions and billions of years it took, and blah, 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 blah. When that's not how I see it. I see that this place is created, and there's fingerprints everywhere of a creator that have been hidden from us. So this goes way beyond money or power or anything like that. This is like, I mean, what did Jesus say? The truth shall set you free. Not money, not love, not this, not that. There's a lot of great things out there, right, that can make your life easier or better or make you happier, but to be free, right? That's what the truth gives you. Freedom. No more fear of asteroids coming to hit the Earth, you know, every other month or this or that. All the fear porn they put out there. That's real freedom.
What's happening with this new alien invasion, right? Sort of like Independence Day, where it splits off in these different pieces and shit. That's what's happening now, apparently. It's going to be a big nothing burger. It's just a way to get people, like to sell T-shirts and shit. I wouldn't be surprised if Jaren has T-shirts coming out with it pretty soon. Sorry, I used to respect Jaren quite a bit, but I've lost respect for him a lot.
And it's not even about the money to the people. It's separating. I mean, okay, for a lot of them that probably don't even know what's really going on, yeah, they can make money off this and that and yada, 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 but the ones at the top, I think it has all to do with separating people from the Creator and its creation. That's the main goal of all this. I mean, look what it's done already. Since NASA, the 50s, how much has this place changed here in the United States? You look at the crime rates. You look at the households sticking together as families. You know, there's so many different things the average median income back then compared to what it is now. I mean, there was a real big, healthy, strong middle class back then. And I don't want to get too biblical, but you go back and look at what the Bible says, and it warns not to do certain things or else your society will crumble. And we're doing those things. And our society is crumbling before our eyes.
I've heard a lot of people that are hardcore biblical and things like that. And they're saying that we are in this, like the age of Satan or something like that. I forget what it's called. But yeah, some people are saying, yeah, that's what it's in biblically. That's about this time of the year. And historically, that's like what we're in the age of Satan right now. And things are going to continue to get worse and worse. And then finally,
little season.
It's going to, what's that?
It's the little season.
Oh, the little season. Okay. Yeah, I don't know much about that. I read the Bible once and it was in one ear, out the other kind of situation.
Well, there's something to be said to having a church and religion. I think I'm coming to learn. Sure, you can read the Bible. And I can read the Bible, and we can sit down right next to each other, and we can read the Bible together, and God's Holy Spirit can come down and talk to us so that we can translate and understand what the Bible really means and what the Bible really is telling us. But what happens if what the Holy Spirit tells you about a verse and what the Holy Spirit tells me about the exact same verse conflict? We can't both be right, so one of us has to be wrong. If we individually interpret the Bible, if we are the individual interpreters of what God's word is, then we can't both be right. So there needs to be some way that's going to say, here is what the Bible means. And I think that's why having a church would be important. And I think is my curiosity towards Orthodox Catholicism.
I agree with you. And that's one of the issues that I've always had with it. Because I always asked, like, pastors and other people that were very prominent in regards to the, Christian beliefs and things. And I said, who wrote it? When was it written? And no one had an answer for me. They don't have an answer. I looked on the internet. No answer. And that it was translated allegedly from Hebrew to Greek to English. And then also into Spanish, and then into like every other language that exists, or almost every language.
I think Latin was in there too. Hebrew, Greek, Latin, then English.
Oh, is it? Okay. It might be the order. Well, I don't even know. I wasn't alive back then. I'm almost 43, but I mean, you guys are not. I don't think you guys are like 7,000 years old, are you? Probably not.
My soul is.
2000.
When I was growing up, they said I had an old soul.
I'm just over 2060 now.
Oh, your birthday's coming up again. All right.
But no, yeah, Anna says it really good. I don't think the Bible or the Quran really were supposed to be interpreted. I think after thousands of years, we kind of turned some of these stories into mythology, right? And not history. They just became stories that were so incredible that they couldn't really have happened, and they must mean something else. So we need to interpret what this means. But it says very clearly in the Torah, you do not add or take away. You don't put your own spin on things. It's said in a way that back then, that's how they spoke, and it was probably understood quite clearly. But it has been translated through many different languages. Karen B and Just Jack did awesome work going through and reading the Hebrew versions and showing how they differ from these other versions. Words change. You just change one word in a sentence, remove, add, or switch it to something else, and it can change the whole meaning of that whole, not just the verse, but the chapters, and, a lot of that book can change with moving around of one word. And there are many Bibles out there that have done this. They have, added to or taken away from the original writings. These are things that Jesus warned us about. So if you want a fair interpretation, in my eyes, somebody who has, studied, he can read ancient Paleo and modern Hebrew and has read the Bible probably 10 times over, knows it inside and out. Check out Just Jack Flat Earth. He doesn't do a whole lot on his channel, but he and Karen B did the scripture study. And yeah, the stories change a little bit when you read the original text, and they make a little bit more sense. It's almost like they wanted to make some of these stories sound so incredible that they couldn't be true. So you didn't take them as the actual history.
Yeah, I think that goes back into a lot of people will credit Adolf Hitler for saying it, but he was not the actual one. I think it was Julius Caesar that said it. If you're going to tell a lie, make it so big to the point where people can't say that it's false. Which Adolf Hitler
Make
did
it big
say that,
and repeat it over and over again.
and multiple presidents have also used that same quote. But yeah, Just Jack, yeah, I met him in Vegas. That dude has a fucking hand grip that I was surprised by. Fucking awesome. When I met him in Vegas and all that, and yeah, he actually, I asked him, like, so why did you stop being a preacher? And he said, because the more he learned about the Bible, the less he trusted it. I was like, wow, I've heard a lot of people say that. So,
yeah, I mean, Peter started the church against Jesus's wishes. He told him not to start a church. He is everywhere. You don't need to go to a certain place to speak to him. Lift a rock and you will find him. Turn a leaf, he will be there. Because he saw what happens when you start churches. They get corrupted. No, and Jack, I mean, he lives the life. He does. You want to see somebody who is Torah observant? Go spend some time with Just Jack and his family. Like, they don't start a fire on the Sabbath. On every Saturday, they have food already prepared from the night before, and it starts at sundown. So they have to have all their stuff ready by Friday night when the sun goes down. They don't travel on the Sabbath until the sun goes down again. They don't have anybody, come over and do yard. They don't work. They all get together as a family, sit around and play board games and talk and watch scripture studies. Like, they live the life. And it really is a beautiful thing to watch and be a part of. But yeah, these people are actually out there. There are people who are Torah observant that just live the life. It's harder. It's definitely harder. I mean, they put 10% of their earnings away and to help people. And they're not super wealthy or anything like that. But that's what Torah says to do. Yeah, they're really awesome people. Him, his wife, all his children are really well-mannered, just good people.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Torah is, I know that's Jewish or Hebrew, That's the beginning of the Bible, like Genesis.
Yeah, it's the first 5 books.
Okay.
That's where it sets all the different commandments. A lot of people think there's 10 commandments. There's like, what is it, 213 or something like that. But there's a 10-word phrase that is the contract. That once you say that before before the Creator, you're telling the Creator, I am going to live this way, according to Torah, yada, yada, yada. And there's way more than just 10 commandments. That's Charlton Heston Hollywood stuff. But there's a 10-word phrase. I have it on a leather armband that just Jack made for me. I wore it out. All the buttons are falling off and it's tearing, and I wore it for years. Remember that, Josh?
I do vaguely.
I remember the first time you saw it, you're like, are you wearing a leather wristband?
All right, I got a question that just popped into my mind at the moment. Is Liz still over there with everyone?
No, she's back in Scotland.
Ah, okay. You guys didn't kidnap her, huh? Figured that would probably happen, but all right. Well, it's good that she's able to travel like that, having a good time. Sure, Cami probably loves having her around.
Yeah. So, we see what they're doing on cargo ships now?
Smuggling drugs?
Putting sails.
What?
Yep.
How many sails
I don't
could they
understand why they stopped using sails, ever.
Well, for metal ships, that's a different thing. Because, of the buoyancy factor. And if you put a sail on, it's only going to push so much.
But yeah,
for small wooden ships. Yeah, I guess in emergency situations. But
no, this one, it says it saves up to 11 tons of fuel a day by having these 2 giant sails on this thing.
Oh, these are like giant sails. Okay.
Yeah, they're enormous. It's not. Yeah.
All right.
Let's see if they give a size of it. Here, I'll drop the article.
The sails are crazy.
When I was in, I was working for this company called HF Interior, which is a Swedish company, and I was the electrician foreman on this job. And anyways, what we did is we were responsible for remodeling billionaires' yachts. Well, actually, it's not even a yacht; it's a ship. Ocean-bound worthy, those kind of things. And it was 287 feet long, I think. And anyways, I went down. I had to talk to the mechanic and the crew. There was a mechanic and a crew electrician down in like the boiler room type of area. And he was telling me all the stats on everything, blah, 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 blah. And, oh yeah, by the way, we spend $30,000 worth of fuel per day to operate the ship. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, that's for a personal, like billionaire's yacht. That's who it was. Like, this guy, I never really got to meet him. I mean, I saw him one time with his bodyguards around him. Apparently he owns like 12 casinos in Las Vegas or some shit like that. And yeah, multi-billionaire. And we were just remodeling the entire fucking thing. And yeah, $30,000 a day. So if you operate it for 100 days straight, which most people are not going to be doing, that's $3 million.
Now I saw this Have you ever seen that show Landman?
New season coming out soon. New season should be out this month.
That's a great show.
So I don't know how accurate it is, you know, but he took this lawyer chick out to a wind farm where they had the big giant, you know, turbine thing. So he was explaining that, you know, just to lay the foundation for this big giant thing, all that concrete that's being poured and this and that, and then building the structure, and then the oil it takes to keep it lubricated and all that kind of stuff. Says they will burn more diesel fuel building it and create more power building that thing than that thing will ever create in its life. So just to get, you know, because the structures aren't like right in town, they're out in the middle of nowhere. So you have to have fuel to get out to it. You have to have fuel to run all the stuff to, you know, that's out there at the construction site. They have big giant diesel generators doing stuff. He said it's going to cost more electricity to make it than it's ever going to produce in its lifetime, its cycle.
And I have a little bit of experience in regards to electricity. I'm not sure if you guys know that or not, but the thing about, I'm being sarcastic. Anyway, so over here in the Bay Area, once you leave, if you get out by like this place like called Livermore and Pleasanton and places like that on Highway 580, you'll just see like hundreds of these wind turbines, and most of them are not even doing anything. They're just dead. And so that's why I think that's why they said, I think California put it into a place where wind turbines will no longer be installed.
Are you?
Because they're just fucking wasting space.
Are you sure the wind just wasn't blowing?
Well, some of them are moving, some of them aren't. Well, some of them are moving, most of them aren't. And according to Lenz's law, with also goes into different laws of physics as well, but mostly Lenz's law, the stronger the magnetic field and the rotations of the armature in that magnetic field will produce a certain amount of voltage, also known as a joule. It's Joule's law as well. So yeah, if they're not doing anything and they're rotating at one rotation per minute, it's fucking nothing. It's like 1 volt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure I buy this sailboat story. Because you dropped it in the chat. So I clicked it and opened it. And right off the bat, that very first picture just looked fake.
It does look fake, doesn't it? It looks like AI.
And I'm pretty
sure AI.
No, it looks like Photoshop. Not bad Photoshop, because they blurred it a little to try to match the quality of the photo. But those logos are not the logos that are actually on the ship. You'd have to scroll down, and this, I think, is a little bit closer to what they're saying is what the ship looks like. And these are the logos that are actually on it.
Uh-huh.
But then if you look, see how they're centered right here in the middle of the ship. And this great cargo ship is saving 11 tons of fuel a day. Well, it's empty.
Yeah, notice that one of them said Cargill twice. Yeah, I think that's CGI.
Well, they say bar twice too on it. So.
Okay, well.
And even the ones that I think they're trying to say Cargill and bar twice, like each sail is identical.
They're saying this is going to take decades, though, before you see it on all of them, because most ports cannot, they have bridges and stuff like that might not open, and they're not that tall. These are huge sails compared to a regular ship, right?
Right, and they lay down. So now you just can't put anything on top of the deck. Your cargo ship is only limited to what's below deck. That's all you can transport because the above deck has to hold your sails. If either up or down, those sails are going to move. They ought to move. So you have to clear all the area around the sails. And if you're going to lay them down when they're not up, then you have to clear all the area on top of the deck where the sails are going to go once they're laying back down. So your great cargo ship that saves 11 tons of fuel a day is traveling around empty, basically. Cool.
That's actually a really good point, because when you look at cargo ships, like, again, over here in where I live, we have multiple ports where we have massive cargo ships pulling in with these Conex boxes, storage containers and whatnot, with everything you can think of from China. And yeah, they're all on the deck, top deck.
Now, if you look at the next picture, where they've got the sails are side by side towards the bow of the deck. And they're called wind wings. Because I searched just the name of the ship is how I did the Google search. And then switched it over to images. And almost every single one is different. Like every single picture of it looks different almost. Here's one that's got 4 sails in the center. Here's 2 sails, but it's not red. It's totally, completely miscolored. And they obviously lay down, so you just can't have anything on the deck. Here's 4, but now they're offset, 2 on each side. I just don't buy it. Like, dead internet theory. Not that I don't think it's possible, or that it's not a good idea, or maybe they've even mocked one up for some stupid ass reason as a proof of concept. But again, why would you have a cargo ship that doesn't carry anything on the top deck? I mean, I guess you could, but fuck, it'd have to be so massive. You're just starting to, the juice ain't worth the squeeze. Now you got to have 45 fucking sails. I got a real bad potty mouth for being live. I really need to start watching that. My apologies to all. You. I don't know. I just don't.
So,
go ahead.
So Pennsylvania is pulling their heads out of their asses.
Nice.
And they abandoned the Northeast Climate Pact. I didn't even know about this. There's a regional climate agreement among states in the Northeast. All about Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, the RGGI, they said. And their new budget deal ends the Commonwealth's effort to participate in the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative. So they're not setting all these restrictions and, having their power plants purchase allowances to release carbon dioxide and all this bullcrap that a bunch of rich people are making money on. That's awesome. Yeah, this whole climate thing needs to go away. I mean, even one of their Sith Lords, Bill Gates, is saying that it's not an issue. That, oops, we're sorry. The trillions of dollars that we've taken to fight climate change, yeah, I guess we really didn't need to do that. We really don't affect the Earth nearly as much as we thought we did.
I mean, how were we supposed to know? How were we supposed to know our models weren't accurate? It's not like people were telling us or warning us.
Have you guys seen the TV show? Well, it's a Netflix show called Squid Games.
Nope.
Is it?
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay. I was really, really against it, and then finally my buddy just put it on, and I watched the first episode, and I was like, holy shit, this is fucked up. And what it is, and this correlates to what you were just saying, but it's about these competitors that want to compete, and the last person to live, it's sort of like Hunger Games, but way more fucked up. And then they start off with like 300 or 400 people, something like that. And then they have to go through these crazy little events. And the last person alive wins like $3 billion or something like that. It was some crazy amount of money. But, spoiler alert, sorry, but that was season 2, I think. And the guy that won, he was asking one of the other guys who he thought died. He's like, no, I orchestrated the entire thing. I was never going to die. And this guy was like 80 years old or something. And he's like, when people earn so much money in their life, they get bored. And eventually, they have nothing to spend it on. So that's why he created the Squid Games. And it's like, oh, that's fucked. But I think that's actually kind of what's happening with some. When you have so much money, like, what do you fucking do? Just put it in the bank?
You could help people.
Diversify.
Right. But, well, yeah, there's this. I've heard this. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but allegedly Elon Musk is going to be the first official trillionaire, even though there's trillionaires out there already, like well over $1 trillion, but we don't know who they are.
There's probably quadrillionaires out there now.
And I think you need to call them $1 trillion heirs. Mm-hmm. Like, trillionaire is just a little vague. Like I said, if I deem sand to be a currency, well, by God, I'd be a trillionaire too.
Well, if I was a trillionaire, I would rename it whatever the fuck I want. I would make every single textbook in the world change. I'd just call it an Andrew Baker
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fuck it. Just change the entire vernacular.
Well, that's how they did it. I mean, Rockefeller and all them went around and made school books and sold them for cheaper than they can be printed. They paid money to propagandize all the students from that point on. Like, you can't make a textbook and sell it to a school and make money. They've lowballed the prices so much on textbooks that it costs more to print them than they charge for them. You can't unless you have, all this money to just give out these textbooks. That's one great way of controlling information and what people get to learn. If you
that's
get
how
to control,
it might have been back then, but the textbooks nowadays, only because I'm an educator, a college instructor, and we have something called the NEC, the National Electrical Code. You can buy it online for like $80. No big deal. You get a digital copy for free, but the school sells it to them for all the students for $350. It's a markup for whatever fucking reason. I don't know.
Well, yeah, when you get into college,
yeah, secondary education is one thing. Do you have a mandatory reading list, Andrew? Do you have books that you mandate your class read so that they can understand, at least have a basic knowledge?
Oh yeah, it's called the syllabus, and I have to follow that. But I get through the syllabus halfway into the module, and then after that, it's all me.
Right, so you can create your own reading list, and you could guide young minds that way.
Yes.
So if you were a Rockefeller publisher, you could offer at a discount other books that you could sweet talk your professors, your liberal professors, your Marxist professors into making a required reading.
Oh, you're talking about like required as in, okay, I see what you're saying. But it's not quite like that. I can create my own tests, my own lab, and things like that. Now, I'm also my own homework. I can pretty much do whatever the fuck I want, but I have to at least follow the syllabus very strictly. Then after the syllabus is complete, which is like 3 weeks in, out of a 6-week module, then I can do whatever the fuck I want. And if the students don't like it, I'll be like, all right, well, there's the fucking door. Get out of my class. But I'm usually very professional when it comes in specific. So I'm not going to be like, all right, guys, my favorite book is blah, 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 blah. Write a report on that today. Like Lord of the Rings. They're like, isn't this an engineering course? Yeah, fuck you. Read Lord of the Rings. I can't do that. That's completely invalid.
No, but if you wrote an engineering book, you could make that part of the required reading, couldn't you? You have to buy my book. Like, I know that's a thing in college classrooms where the professor writes a book and makes his book part of the required reading.
I think there's like an intellectual property and conflict of interest kind of a thing that goes on with that. Only because, if I'm making money from the company and then also making money for the fact that I work for the company in a second way, I think you get fired for that. Maybe even sued.
Maybe.
Yeah, this is more, I was talking about like the K through 12 books. You know, the books they give you that
you have to turn back in that are issued to the school, not to the individual student.
Yeah. Oh, man. That's got to be rough. I'm not a big fan of Jimmy Kimmel. Never really liked him. Even when he was doing his football thing when he got started, I always thought it was
Please
jokes.
tell me he fell out of a fucking helicopter and broke every bone in his body.
No, actually, his best friend from childhood and his band leader of his show has passed away unexpectedly, so he's going to be taking a break. That sucks. Anybody losing, a lifelong friend like that. So I'm not a fan of Jimmy, but I get it, man. That's a hard one. He's going to be taking a break for a while.
That's kind of weird timing, considering he just got fired and then rehired 2 days or 3 days later. I don't know, seems weird timing. But yeah, it's
a rough one. I feel for him. You gotta. That's what separates good from evil, right? Good doesn't enjoy when bad things happen to evil. Good always shows empathy, compassion. We don't take joy. We don't have Schadenfreude, right? When our enemy, something bad happens to them. That's like fighting evil with evil. You're never going to win that way. You're never going to maybe change that person's point of view or get them to see in a different way if you're evil back towards them.
Here's the thing. I have to say, for the most part, I agree with most of what you say, but right now I don't. And I'm going to say that because of this. And I'm being serious right now. This is no facetious, I'm sorry. I'm not being facetious or sarcastic or anything like that. If someone hurt, like my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister, my girlfriend, or even my fucking cat, the only thing I'm going to have to do is find a way to hurt them worse. And I don't care about that because it's not because I love everybody, which I don't. But if someone does that to something I love, I'm not going to just go turn around and say, I forgive you. Sorry, it's not going to happen. Maybe I'm vengeful.
I understand that completely. Yeah, no. But Jimmy Kimmel's never done anything to me, like, or my family or anything like that. I don't know him from Adam. I don't know what kind of person he really is. I hear some of his close friends say that he's a really good guy. Has a
Adam
good heart.
Carolla is his best friend. And
Yeah,
I've actually met Adam Carolla. Yeah, Adam Carolla's pretty cool. He's an atheist, but he doesn't really give a flying fuck about politics or anything. Jimmy Kimmel does.
He doesn't pick a side. He calls out bullshit on both sides of the aisle.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I listen to him, because I believe he's giving a pretty honest opinion most of the time.
I would agree. But
Jimmy Kimmel, not so much. I think Jimmy Kimmel lies a lot.
He was promoting the jibby jab.
He gets paid to lie. That's his job.
Yeah.
I don't know him from Adam. I would guess that he's not a good person, anybody that can lie like that. But then again, maybe he actually believes some of the stuff that he says. I don't know. I don't know.
You don't think it's scripted? Or do you think it's scripted?
Yeah, I think it's scripted, but I think a lot of the actors might not even know that they're actors. You know, the best fool you can have is someone who doesn't know what they're doing for you. They just believe it, right? Like a lot of these teachers out there today, the stuff they're saying to students, I think they actually believe a lot of this stuff. They're wrong, in my opinion, but this is what they actually believe. So it's, you know, it's the same thing with the globe and the flat earth. All these science teachers out there, I don't think they're trying to deceive their students. They're teaching what they were taught and what they believe to be true. I can't hold that against someone.
Nope.
They're sharing what their truth.
Yeah, lies should require an intent to deceive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, back when I used to actually listen to Jared and join into his streams and stuff, he actually made a pretty good point. And he was saying that his sister, who, you know, she's got a master's degree in history and she works at a museum in San Francisco. I don't know which one it is, but anyways, I think she's like the manager or some shit like that. Anyways, he was saying that he would try to talk to her about certain political points, and she's like hardcore left, you know, hardcore left, if you want to put it that way. And then he would try to bring things up, and all she would do is be able to recite things that she heard on the radio on her way to work, because that's all the time she had. And that's what, unfortunately, a lot of people fall into that trap. Like, oh, I'm going to turn on the morning news and see what Tucker Carlson or fucking whoever is going to have to say. And that's what I'm going to repeat to my coworkers and make it sound like I really know what I'm talking about. But it's like, that's not actually, that's illogical. But now Jaren's doing that. It's a trap. That's why I stopped.
So I was having. Sorry, I'm going to take a left turn here. We went to a Mexican restaurant when we were up there in Virginia, and one of the guys, I was like, we were talking about where we came from, and I think it's my grandma on my dad's side was Native American down in Mexico. And he told me Mexico's not America.
Wrong.
And I was like, well, yeah, it is. It's part of the Americas. North, Central, and South are all the Americas. He's like, yeah, but it's not North America. And I just hand planted. And we had somebody, there's a lady there from Cuba, right? She knows about Central America and Panama, and she was like, no, he's right. Mexico is north of Central America. Mexico is part of North. And he's sitting there arguing with me that Mexico was not part of North America. Neither was Canada, apparently. Because it didn't have America in the name.
Clearly.
How about South America? Was that part of it?
That's what I tried to explain to him. Like, even if my ancestors were from, you know, what's one from down there? Having brain farts. Venezuela.
Uruguay?
Venezuela is really big in the news right now. So they were from Venezuela. They're still American, Native Americans. North, Central, South America. Like, they're all part of the Americas. He wasn't that great at geography, we'll just say.
I noticed South Carolina doesn't have the word America in it either.
Yeah, so we must not be part of America.
I mean, we are just a state, but hell, we're United States of something.
So there are 23 independent sovereign countries in North America. I had no idea there was that many. A lot of them are the small islands.
Oh, no. That was a trivia question I had. I think that was with you. No, it wasn't with you and Jaron. That was with... I forget which one it was. But, yeah, how many countries are actually in North America? Yeah.
23. Antigua, Barbuda, Bahamas, Barbados, Belize, Canada, Costa Rica, Cuba, Dominica, Dominican Republic, El Salvador, Grenada, Guatemala, Haiti, Honduras, Jamaica, Mexico, Nicaragua, Panama, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines, Trinidad, Tobago, and the United States.
Most people, if you ask that question, they will, if they don't take in all the islands and stuff and Central America, they will say 3. Mexico, United States, Canada.
And then there's coincidentally 23 other non-self-governing territories. I didn't know that either. These are mostly islands: Anguilla, Aruba, Bermuda, Bonaire, British Virgin Islands, Cayman Islands, Clipperton Island, Curaçao, federal dependencies of Venezuela, Greenland. Greenland?
Wait,
what?
federal dependencies?
Yeah, federal dependencies of Venezuela.
Why is that a weird thing? But yeah, Greenland actually is a territory of Denmark, and there's a really cool movie made about it. It's called Against the Ice. It's one of those movies you got to watch. It's like Requiem for a Dream. Great movie, but only watch it once.
Yeah.
But it's a true story about how Denmark actually was able to claim land in Greenland.
And then it goes on in this article talking about how many continents there are. You know, we were taught there's 7 continents: Asia, Africa, North America, South America, Antarctica, Europe, and Australia. But there are solid arguments that there are anywhere between 4 and 9 continents, depending on how you measure it.
Yeah, I've never understood how this works. So Europe is connected to Asia. And if you didn't have like borders drawn, you'd say, okay, that looks like one big fucking continent.
Yep.
And
I agree.
Yeah, one big fucking continent. And then from there, you say, okay, there's Africa, this question mark looking thing. Okay, that's another continent. Australia, boom, continent. And then North America is slightly connected to South America. It's got like a 2-foot fucking rope bridge connecting them or something.
Central America? Yeah.
No, well, I mean, from Central America to, what is it, like Chile or something like that? Whatever. So,
but you can't drive. You can't drive from North America to South America. There's a jungle that's about 50 miles wide that they claim they cannot build a road through. Now, we've built highways connecting mountains and this and that and blah, blah. I think this is the way they keep us compartmentalized.
Wait,
but yeah,
you're talking like Mirkwood? Like in Lord of the Rings? Like a jungle you can't cross? Because you just...
Yeah, there's a jungle right, I think it's in Venezuela, somewhere right up there where Central America comes in and meets South America. There's like 50, it might be even more than 50 miles of jungle. Here, I'll get the name of it.
Yeah, Laura got it, the Darien Gap.
Darien Gap, that's it.
It's... You can cross it, but you really have to be aware of the ROUSs.
Rodents of unusual size.
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah, it's like swamp and all kinds of stuff. They tried taking some Land Rovers through there. They were going to be the first people to drive from the tip of North America up there in Canada all the way down to the tip in South America. And they were in that gap forever trying to get these Land Rovers through it. Like they had to put them on boats and all kinds of stuff.
Well, spring rains come and they wash out bridges. Like a lot of the locals, they have to rebuild bridges basically every single year in order to continue the trade routes and shit that they have. Because once spring comes and the waters rise and the rivers rush, it just tears out all the bridges. So then the Chinese come in and say, you know what, we'll build those bridges for you. You know what, in fact, we'll build highways for you. I think right now there are major inroads being made through the Darien Gap by way of the Chinese. One of Sean Ryan's guests is a frequenter, and I believe Sean Ryan himself will be visiting the Darien Gap very soon, if he hasn't already done it. I'll be doing a show either from or about his time there and all the crazy stuff that goes on.
Yeah, it'd be cool to drive all the way down to South America.
But the point is, it's all fucking America.
Yeah,
like,
all of it.
My torso is North Josh. And my thighs and my legs down there, that's all South Josh. Then you got Central Josh, but it's all Josh.
What about your head? Is that like North Josh?
Well, that's included in the torso. I mean, it may not have torso in the name, but it's definitely still the northern part of the north part.
Okay. East and West Josh, that would be your arms, because your torso technically does not include the limbs. It is up to the bottom of your throat down into your waistline. That's the torso.
Yeah,
as far as I remember.
Everything else are just dependents.
Yeah, okay, so North America, South America, those are the two. Australia, Africa, and then Asia. I think there's 5. But if you want to include Antarctica as one, then okay, whatever. But I don't understand why Europe has like that separation line right there. There's 7 time zones, by the way, in Europe. So it's like, oh, I could also just say, you know what, the United Kingdom, that's its own continent. It's small, but somehow they associate that with the United States. Oh, Hawaii is 6,000 miles away from California, but yet it's its own continent. I'm sorry, it's part of us. What the fuck? I don't get how this works.
Yeah, the lines will change again. They always do. So I guess some congresswoman, a Democrat member, was arguing in court that she can't be held. She should have legislative immunity for assaulting an ICE agent at one of the immigration centers.
Yeah, I don't think that's how that works.
No, the federal judge ruled on Thursday they could proceed with its case against Representative LaMonica McIver, a Democrat accused of assaulting immigration agents where thousands of migrants awaiting deportation have been held. I love it how they just always maintain their innocence. Like, I didn't do nothing. I just pushed him and spit on him a little bit. You know, if anybody should be standing up and being, you know, forthright, like, hey, I messed up. I shouldn't have done that. My bad. It should be our representatives. When they do something bad, they should be held to an even higher standard.
With fewer protections.
Yes, much fewer protections. You're supposed to be setting examples for your constituents. You're there to represent them. That's that John Fetterman guy, I know he's had brainstem injury and this and that. He's one of the most logically speaking Democrats I've ever heard speak over the last 10 years. He was on The View the other day, and he just laid into them all. He's like, because Bernie Sanders and Gavin Newsom were getting on him because he was one of the 8 Democrats senators that voted to pass the spending bill, to just kick it down the road a little bit. And they were getting on him about, well, Gavin Newsom said that, and Bernie Sanders is like, yeah. And Gavin Newsom and Bernie Sanders are from 2 of the bluest states out there. They know what they're representing people who are, he's like, Pennsylvania is not that. I'm representing more Republicans than I am Democrats in my state. So this whole your side, my side thing doesn't really fly in Pennsylvania. We have to try to come to an agreement for everybody to get along, and not just my side wins. It's crazy when the guy that dresses in sweatpants, and they make him, until they made him wear a suit, he's the one speaking logically.
Yeah, he showed up in like board shorts and then like a button-down shirt one day, didn't he? Like in the hall,
straight up sweatpants, straight up sweatsuit, hooded sweatshirt, and sweatpants, gym shoes. And they had passed a rule that now you have to wear a suit and tie and blah 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 monkey suit.
Yeah, there should be a dress code at a certain point. Like if you're going to a black, a suit and dress type of a gathering, that's the dress code, and you show up with fucking a sweatsuit on, then they're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Could have just been a publicity stunt. But in regards to what you were saying about how people should be held to a higher level of responsibility, I completely agree. The only problem is police officers. What I found out is that if a police officer gets pulled over for drunk driving, all they have to do is call one of their fellow coworkers that's off duty to come pick them up, and they get off the hook. And I know that because I have 3 friends that are cops. Well, one of them is a sheriff's deputy. And they're like, yeah, if you get a DUI, just give me a call. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? He's like, yeah, well, you're still going to get charged with it, but you won't have to go to jail. I was like, what the fuck? But yeah, other cops, they're like, yeah, they won't even get a DUI. They just have to drive them home. That's it.
Not always now. Now with the body cameras and stuff, I've seen plenty of cops and sit there and whine and cry to their fellow officer about how you can't do this. We're in the brotherhood. Blah. The guy's like, I'm not losing my job over you. I'm sorry, but all this is being recorded, man. There is no, we'll just, follow you or this or that. I've seen plenty of officers because they know that, now with all these body cams that, yeah, it's out there. Like, and it's not even so much the body cam. It's the groups of people out there requesting all these body cam footages, right? And scouring through them to find this stuff. They're making it to where cops can't just let other cops go anymore. So it's changing. I'm not saying it doesn't ever happen. That would be asinine. But yeah, with the new cameras and how a lot of them will kick on automatically when you go to pull someone over, it's not like they have to turn it on. They can mute it and stuff like that. They can turn it off. They can get in trouble for that. But yeah, a lot of these things are automatic now. They turn on when, you click on your lights to pull somebody over or something like that. They'll automatically turn on. So yeah, it's changing. I'm not saying it's perfect yet, but there's quite a few cops who have lost their careers to drinking and driving.
Yeah, I'm not saying that everybody that's going to be in law enforcement is going to get away with it, but there was one of these First Amendment audit videos where they had someone get pulled over for drunk driving. they found out he was an FBI agent, and they brought him into the station, and he wasn't even fucking handcuffed. The entire thing is on security camera, and you know the Axon 3 body camera thing. And they said, okay, well, we need to find a way to get you back home. And he said, okay, well, he gave him a phone number. Because the guy, he said, yeah, I'm fucking drunk. I was drunk driving. FBI agent. And then he calls up a friend, one of his coworkers, and about a half an hour later, that coworker comes by, and the cops are like, all right, the guy is chewing like 16 pieces of gum, and he has cologne on like crazy, and his eyes are all watery and and glassy. He's been drinking a lot, and all they did was make them stay there until they sobered up and just let them fucking go. And that was on First Amendment audits. Pretty fucked up, in my opinion, because anyone else, that would be a 1 year suspension of your license, a night in the drunk tank, and probably around $5,000 in fines, and a big hit on your DMV record.
Yeah, it's not like it was back in the 80s where you could have like 5 DUIs and still be driving.
Well,
they've really cut down on a lot of that.
I didn't have a driver's license in the 80s. I was still going through elementary school.
No, I had uncles though, who, they've gathered up quite a few in my family, we'll just say.
Oh yeah, Indiana, of course.
I have one myself.
I have one.
OVWI, they called it.
What is
Operating
that?
Vehicle while intoxicated.
Oh, okay.
It was a little bit lesser of a thing. And they were going to let me go. I've told this story a few times. They gave me the old count on your fingers. You got to touch your fingertips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's just House of the Rising Sun. I passed all their tests. I was back in my truck, getting ready to pull away, and there was a guy in the back of my truck I didn't even know was back there. Made a noise. They're like, who's this? I was like, oh, I didn't even know he was back there. It was a guy that I had worked with. Well, apparently, he had all kinds of records. And as soon as they found out who he was, he's like, so where's the drugs, this and that? Blah. I was like, whoa, what? I was like, I work with the guy. I've been working with him for a few weeks. I don't really know him all that well. First time we've ever, I didn't even know I thought he had left the bar like hours ago. But yeah, that was enough they let me sit there for 5 hours to try to sober up before they gave me the breathalyzer and all that. Didn't help.
Did they cuff you?
I don't remember. They cuffed me or if they just sat me in the car.
Yeah, some like the cool cops, if you're not a threat and you're just abiding by all of their commands, they're probably not going to have to cuff you. They're just like, hey, get out of the car, sit on the curb. And that's what happened to me. And I kid you not, this is exactly what happened. I was at my buddy's house, and we were just over there like playing some fucking video games and whatnot. And then I got a call from another friend who said, hey man, do you have any connections for any bud? And I was like, yeah, because my buddy right there, he grows it. And I was like, hey, can you front me a quarter ounce? They have 2 people that want an 1/8 apiece. He's like, yeah, no problem. Cool. So that's when I was like, all right, man, I'm going to head out, drive this down the road. So I'm going down the road, and I was like, oh, fuck, I need gas. So I pull over to a gas station, get some gas, get back on the road, and forgot to turn my headlights on. And it was like right when it started getting dark, dusk, I guess you call that. And I drive right by a very popular restaurant called BJ's Brewery. And, you know, they're all over the country. But all of a sudden, whoop, whoop, right behind me. The guy was sitting there fucking just waiting for me. So I pull over to the side, and I was like, what's going on? And why'd you pull me over? And he said, your headlights weren't on. And why does the inside of your vehicle smell like bud? And I was like, I have a gym bag back there with my, you know, sweaty sweats and shit. Maybe that's it. And he's like, nope, I need you to step out of the car. And he said, all right, before I search it, just tell me where it is. And I said, it's in the center console. So he sits me down on the curb. And then from there, by that time, there was another cop coming by, because I guess the law over here is if it's a possible misdemeanor charge, they have to have at least 2 cops, and a felony has to be 3 or more officers. And they're like, so why'd you lie to us? And I said, well, first of all, it's not mine. I swear to God, it's not. I was just bringing it to someone that wanted some bud. And then they were like, oh, so you were transporting it as well. Without a fucking, and they were starting to go on like this long litany of like charges. And I was like, come on, guys. I mean, like, well, why'd you lie? Like, 'cause I didn't want to get caught. Why the fuck else would I lie? And then from there, they wrote me a ticket. And then they said, all right, well, you can't drive right now. And I said, well, why not? They said, because your license is expired. I was like, oh, fuck. I didn't even realize that. And then, so my buddy Eric had to come by. He was high on fucking something. I don't know, some pills. And they checked his ID and everything. They couldn't tell he was high, though. But I could. He was my roommate. And, yeah, that's what happened. And that was a cool situation. Didn't go to jail for that one. And it's off my record now, because the judge dismissed it.
Yeah, the coolest cop we ever came across was this cop out in Chicago. A female. There was this road out there called Doty Road. It was in the industrial park, kind of. Out in the middle of nowhere, outskirts, kind of. And people would drag race down it. All the cars would line up on the side, facing in with their lights on, and then 2 cars would just go flying down the middle. Well, there was a railroad track, and because of the industry and all that, and every once in a while the train would stop there. You know, they were loading or on. That's when cops would do their raids. It was the first time I'd ever been out there. We were sitting there maybe 20 minutes, and then the cops came. Train came down, stopped, cops came. We didn't run. We were in a slow Mercury Cougar, so we just kind of sat there and waited for the cops to get to us. Saw we were from Indiana, like, what are you boys doing here? Like, we're just wanting to see some racing. Like, I get it. It's like, you have any guns or drugs, knives, anything like that? My buddy had a pocket knife. They took it, never gave it back. And my one buddy had a joint sitting in the center console he had forgotten about, right by the gear shifter. And he told her, you know, she asked, is there anything else in here I should know about? No, that's it. She's like, well, what's that right there? And he was just like, oh, shit. She's like, give me that. She's looking at it. She's like, who rolled this? No joke. My buddy's like, I did, ma'am. Oh, not bad for a white boy. Do you want this back? No, ma'am. No, I don't. Sure you do. Puts it behind his ear. Sticks the joint behind his ear. Says, now get out of here. We don't want to ever see you back here again. They cared not about pot. They were looking for heavy drugs. Really, they were looking for guns and knives. Any kind of weapon is what they were confiscating. But yeah, I could not believe it. Put the joint back in his ear and was like, get out of here. Like, no way.
Those are the cool cops. Yeah, it's not worth their time to basically, it's going to take them probably at least an hour to 2 hours to handcuff, write up the report, bring them to jail. Meantime, they probably could have missed a whole bunch of other stuff that was more pertinent to whatever their chief told them that day. Like, hey, we're looking for this kind of arrest tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And that very similar thing happened to me. I was fresh out of the military, and my parents had tasked me with going to their apartment complex, the one they owned, and to paint one of the units that was vacant at the time. And I was putting it off. And finally, my buddy Chris and Adam were with me. I was like, oh, fuck, dude. We've been playing ping pong all night. It's like 11:30 at night. And back in the day, I'm not sure if you guys know about that alcoholic drink, Sparks. I used to love those things. And I already had like 3 or 4 of them. And had another one. My buddy Chris had one as well. My buddy Adam had a bottle of vodka. And I was like, hey, guys, I'll buy you fucking dinner and alcohol and whatever else. But you got to come help me paint the fucking apartment complex. I'm sorry, this apartment. And they're like, yeah, fine, no problem. So we're driving down the road, and Adam tells me, he's like, hey, man, this part of the road, the cops hang out in like these little gully areas catching speeders. And I was like, oh, that's fine. Okay. So I slowed down, but it was too late. It was like right when he said that, they already flagged me. And I pulled over. I had my painting coveralls on, and literal painting coveralls. So did Chris and Adam. And we had, all 3 of us had alcohol in our breath. I was speeding. I had a roach in my pocket, and cop pulls me over and gets me out of the car. And at that point, they thought it was going to be a felony. So I think there was like 4 or 5 cop cars there. And I was like, fuck. Yeah, I was like, I'm going to jail. All right, fuck it, whatever. But didn't go to jail. And they searched me, and I was like, oh, they're going to find the joint or the roach. No, they didn't find that. They didn't even handcuff me. They didn't have Chris or Adam get out of the car. Just me. You know what happened? The reason I got let go is because the guy that pulled me over, he was the shift supervisor. He was the sergeant. And he saw my military decals on the windshield, which people are required to have. Because I was out of the military like 3 months or something like that, fresh out. And those decals were still valid. And he was asking me about my military experience. Oh, my brother was a Marine, and he's deployed in Afghanistan right now. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. And then from there, the open, still full, alcoholic beverages were given back to us. I told them, hey, we're going down the road to paint. I was procrastinating for a long time to do this. And it's right down the road. It's like a half mile from here. I gave him the address and everything. And then the female cop because he was the ship supervisor, she didn't have shit to say. She was pissed. And he said, yeah, give them back their drinks. And my buddy Chris, he literally said this. Thank you, officer, for my open alcoholic beverage back. Like, he was just like, he didn't even know what the fuck was going on. I was like, oh, wow. Yeah. That was definitely a arrestable offense. And yeah, DUI, arrestable. I mean, I was probably sober enough because sparks are pretty weak, but yeah. Field sobriety test, I passed all that shit, but they never breathalyzed me. But yeah, that was one of the cool cops. Maybe I was lucky because I was a veteran. Oh, I am a veteran. Anyways, long story short, that's it.
I've come across a lot of cool cops. It only takes one jerk to shine a bad light in people's eyes, I mean, how many interactions do people really have with cops? I've only had a handful, and I'm old, But if you're not out there causing trouble and you're not on their radar, it's like, ooh, this is somebody that we want to get again, then cops for the most part leave you alone. Every time that I've been, pulled over, this or that, I was actually doing something I shouldn't have been doing. And I've gotten more warnings than anything else. Now I drive like a little old lady, so I don't even get pulled over anymore. I just do the speed limit while people are honking as they're passing me.
Yeah, the thing that I found out from different police officers, including my three buddies, but I haven't talked to them in a long time, but one of the things they said, I was like, how can people avoid getting arrested, pulled over, cited, and all that kind of stuff when they're getting pulled over? What should be done? And they said, well, the first thing you want to do is make sure that the cop is not like going to be reaching for his fucking weapon. So pull over, turn off the engine, put the keys on the dashboard in front of you, roll down your windows, and keep your hands on the steering wheel until you are directed to do something. And then answer yes, sir, no, sir kind of situation.
If you do that, 90% of the time, the cop is going to be so cool with you right off the bat. Like, seriously, rolling down your windows and keeping your hands on the steering wheel puts that his whole demeanor changes a little bit. They're at ease a lot more. They know that you're not a threat. I mean, it is a crazy job when you think about it.
If you watch a lot of these First Amendment audits and police encounters and things like that, the dash cam on the police car, a lot of the cops, they're walking up with their right hand ready to unbuckle their sidearm. They're ready for that shit because they have no idea if someone already has a gun, it's going to be turning around just randomly shooting them. So
that's why
that's how they're walking
rolling
up.
the windows down is so important.
Yeah, if they see your hands on the wheel.
Yeah, if you have tint on your windows, roll them down all the way. Like if they can see through them somewhat, you just crack them down like halfway. The cop will be happy with that. It totally changes their demeanor when you do this kind of stuff.
A light too. Just kick that dome light on.
Turn a light on. Yeah, especially if it's dark, turn on your dome light for them. Let them see everything. Especially since there's cops out there now that are opening fire when an acorn falls and hits the roof of the car. Like, you can tell not all the cops out there should be cops right now.
Well, I think the maximum IQ they're allowed to have is 110. Something like that.
Yes, that's
in New York, I think. I don't think that was a national standard. I think that was just a court case in New York for the New York Highway Patrol or agency within the state of New York, I think.
Well, there was a court case that actually went to, I think, the state Supreme Court, or maybe in the Supreme Court.
No, I think it was just the state Supreme Court. I think it was just the state of New York.
Oh, okay. I thought that was like a national standard. But yeah, they said, well, if the cops are too smart, they'll understand that in certain situations they shouldn't engage because it's too dangerous. And I think that was what the reasoning was, the explanation. And eventually, I don't know what happened, but the police department lost, as far as I know.
Yeah, they have a rough job.
They won. I'm pretty sure they won. I'm pretty sure that there is a minimum IQ or maximum IQ.
No, maximum IQ.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there is a maximum IQ.
And they say that, I think the reasoning is because people that tend to be smarter don't end up being cops for very long.
So I can see that for like white shirts, right? You get up lieutenants and captains and things like that. But what about your detectives? You really want a detective with a minimum IQ? You want
your detectives to be smart.
You would think.
Sorry.
So how do you get detectives without hiring from within?
Well, a lot of the detectives now, the new hiring, you don't do it from within. A lot of the guys, they start maybe not right off as a detective, But they have like degrees now in criminal justice and this and that and yada, yada, yada. Excuse me. Yeah, there's just so many new schooling things for criminology courses and stuff. That a lot of this new age, which is not something you really want either. Do you want your detective never having actually worked in the field as a police officer? That's kind of, the ropes that you learn. Skipping over stuff. It never worked in any job I had where they bring in the college graduate that has zero experience and is supposed to come in and change things and make it be more efficient and this and that. Yeah, they tend to fuck things up worse than the engineers do. I'm not knocking engineers all that bad. Some of the smartest dumb people you'll ever meet. And it's not even, in my opinion, the engineer's fault, right? In order to have work, you have to do something and, pretty much reinvent the wheel. I'm not saying there aren't any more mechanical advances that can be made out there, right? We haven't hit the pinnacle by any means. But the wheel's pretty sound. It's round. It rolls. It works great. It's efficient. Now, when you go tell an engineer you need to change the shape of this wheel to make it more efficient, it's like, how do you do that? It's a hard job. Now, of course, that's just that's not what they're really doing, but they take things that work fine, work great, try to make an improvement on it, and end up making it worse. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Move on to something else. But, that's not their call. That's management saying, make this better. So they have to try to figure out a way to make the wheel better. I wouldn't want to be an engineer for anything. Maybe a civil engineer.
Yeah, civil engineer is pretty cool because you get to be outdoors a lot. And then other aspects as well. I want to be like a field engineer, not one of those guys that's sitting behind a computer all day using AutoCAD. But
you ever plan out a city in your head?
I played SimCity a lot, so yes.
Well, no, I'm talking about like a futuristic. Like I've been trying to figure out a way to make traffic. Like, how do you set up traffic to where you don't have to stop?
Well,
nobody would have to stop ever.
What I've noticed is a pattern. If you go to any downtown area, like when I drive through LA, San Francisco, Sacramento, like places like some of the major cities, downtown San Jose, where I live, they have a whole bunch of one-way streets. Like every other street is one way, and then the perpendicular is also one way. I don't know exactly how that works and why it works, but it does definitely alleviate a lot of the traffic congestion. But also because we have this technology that was developed a long time ago called PLC, which is programmable logical controls, which I can explain it, and I can do it, not at an advanced level, but I can do it. But it's about like if you pull up to a stoplight and it has a sensor in the ground or even a motion sensor on the street light, and you're there, and then all of a sudden it activates a timer, which activates a relay, and then it'll switch the lights around, and then that's how traffic lights are controlled. But when it comes to like one-way streets in a downtown area, then it's something that's outside of my comprehension as to how to make it work on a complex level. But yes, I've tried doing that. I've tried understanding it.
It happens like every few months, maybe every 6 months. I'll just sit there for a few hours throughout the week and try to think of some kind of road system to where you would never have to stop, ever. Once you're on the road, kind of like an interstate, getting on and off of interstates, but doing that everywhere. There would have to be 2 levels to it, in my opinion, for sure. And I don't know how the whole parking structure thing would go after you got off the road.
Well, intersecting and merging traffic is always going to be an issue. And what I know what you're talking about, but I don't think it's possible. At some point, it would have to slow down or even stop in the event of an emergency. Think about the movie Minority Report, where everything's on, like every single car is like on its own individual rail system. I'm not sure if you remember that part of the movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's one of the things I think about. I was thinking about it yesterday because we were working with some underground guys that do the underground cables. And we were in downtown Spartanburg. They don't have power lines. It's all run underground. And the box, they call them vaults, that the guy was working in had 2.5 feet of water, standing water in it. And there was drainage systems all around the road, all around this vault. But it was almost like the drainage systems were higher than the vault. So the vault couldn't have a drain at the bottom of it to go into the drainage system. And that made zero sense to me. It's why wouldn't you have these things to where they had drains in them? It seems kind of you don't want your electrical power lines submerged in water. That's just not a good thing.
Well, it's not exactly how those work. I don't think the power lines were in the water. If they were, that's a major fucking problem.
Well, I mean, if that vault fills up, because the power lines are along the wall.
Oh yeah, they're called duct banks. I've worked
and
in them.
A big tube thing.
Yeah,
I mean, the vault was filled up 2.5, 3 feet, and they've told me they've seen them before where they're up to their waist. So if they don't go in there and pump that water out manually, that vault eventually would fill up with water.
Yeah, they have to have a sump pump or a drainage system. And the ones I installed,
there's no drainage system. They had to do it with a sump pump, and I could not believe the amount of water that came out of that thing.
Yeah, probably a few.
It was kind of almost the size of a fire hose. It was a real big sump pump, and it was spewing out water for over an hour.
I believe it, but it's almost that time, and I don't want to take over the show. So, gentlemen, I'll be in the background.
There was a story I wanted to talk about. Almost completely missed it. I should be able to squeeze it in, though. There's a little airport not too far from here. Chesterfield Airport. And there was a plane crash there yesterday. Day before, something like that.
Ooh.
Yeah, you figure those are never good, but both people on board walked away.
Nice. That's a story to tell right there.
Well, they've got a new technology, apparently, that when you're up in the air like that and your engine dies or something bad happens, you can have installed upon your airplane a very large parachute.
Really?
Yeah. And that's how they walked away from that plane crash, was they just floated gently down to the ground via a parachute for the plane.
Why hasn't this been a thing since the beginning of planes?
I don't know. You'd think it's kind of common sense. You just need a really big fucking parachute, but yeah, it just makes sense.
It really does. They could have these on everything.
Uh-huh. Like helicopters, how great. I mean, you have to be pretty high up probably for it to deploy and fill and actually catch before you hit the ground. And maybe a lot of helicopters aren't flying that high up. But I don't know. With gyroscopic rocket technology, you could probably propel a parachute up and not just require for you to pull it down to fill. I'm sure there's a way you could somehow minimize that for something.
Hell, you could just invert the helicopter and do it from the bottom. You might be hanging upside down, but you're not going to crash. I'm just worried about the propeller catching the thing.
Yeah, you smash
So
that
something
spinning
automatic,
propeller
like you
into the
said.
cockpit might not be a good idea.
Automatic gyro, flip the thing upside down and invert it, and then the thing parachute comes out the bottom.
Yep. All right. That's it, folks.
Love y'all.
Love you guys. Thanks so much for hanging out with us this morning. We will see you back here next week, hopefully with a Walter joining us. But thanks, Andrew, for hanging out with us this morning. Thank you all for joining us in chat. So until then, be good, be well, do good, do it well, and remember that we love you. Bye-bye.